Lori from GLP-1 Journey and Review. Today, we are going to do a video in my interview series where we talk to people about their weight loss journey, GLP-1 or not. We are discussing what works for us. I want to remind everybody that I am not a healthcare provider. My guest is not a healthcare provider. We are just telling you what works for us. If you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up. And then go over to Jules' channel and like and subscribe there. It really does help us out. If you are planning on a weight loss journey, I strongly advise that you see your healthcare provider. So, Jules, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Jules of Jules Wellness Warrior. I am 54. I have 4 kids. 3 are my own, and they're all in their 20s. And then I have a 12-year-old bonus child. I'm married, second time. 2 dogs, and I've lost over 50 pounds, gained muscle, strength, and it's been an incredible journey, and it continues. I'm happy to be here.
And Jules' channel will be linked down below in the description. So, again, please head on over to her channel afterwards and like and subscribe. Now, are you using a GLP-1 or did you use a GLP-1 medication with your weight loss
I
journey?
did, and I am. Yes.
Okay. Which
I've
one
been
are you
on
using?
well, I've been on all of them.
Okay.
So I started my GLP-1 journey in September of 2022.
Mm-hmm.
And I started on Ozempic. Then I moved to Wegovy because Ozempic's limited with the amount. So I was able to get up to 2.4. Then I switched to compounding tirzepatide, then on Mounjaro, and then over to Zepbound, where I am currently.
And how much weight have you lost in total?
I've lost over 50.
Mm-hmm.
I say over 50 because I started somewhere in the 160s, but I didn't want to weigh myself initially. Had that fear of the scale. So when I finally weighed myself, I was a little bit lower than that. And to put it in perspective, I'm 5'1" and been maintaining the weight loss now for over 2 years. So I hit goal weight in May of 2023, and that's been hanging around 113 pounds.
So have you noticed any difference between all these medications?
Yes. They all worked. They all work for me. They all work very well. And it's hard to know, like I was very tired initially on the Ozempic and Wegovy or Ozempic. So it's hard to know if it was just the beginning stages of Ozempic, because when I was on tirzepatide, Mounjaro, Zepbound, I really did not have any side effects, and fatigue was my biggest side effect outside of weight loss. But they both work great with weight loss at that time. I switched over because I stalled out for 4 months. So when you guys are talking about stalling for a few weeks and getting upset, I was stalled for 4 months, just up and down 2 pounds for 4 whole months, having about 10 more pounds that I wanted to lose. So then I switched over, tweaked some things, and then got things moving again.
So when you switched over, did you have to let it come out of your system? Did they start you back at starter dose or?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Switched right over. Went from 2.4. Wegovy next week was on 5 milligrams. Okay. So there's no reason. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but there's no reason to. This is GLP-1, and now you're looking at, having a dual agonist. So GLP-1 plus the GIP. So, nope.
So that's great that there were no problems. What kind of side effects besides the fatigue did you have over all these medications, if any?
Barely any. I mean, I know the allodynia, the skin sensitivity. I literally had that for 2 or 3 days because I just remember feeling this like sensation on my skin, and I'm like, what is this? But it went away. It was no big deal. Slight nausea, nothing much. And quite frankly, I was happy to get it because I knew it was working. and it was ever so slight. I've never not been able to eat. But that was about it. Fatigue was the biggest issue. I'm trying to think if there was anything else. I think that was it. I've never been constipated. I've never had diarrhea. I've never had any of the symptoms. I think a lot of it's blown out of proportion because you hear people, the loudest people, of course, are going to say I have symptoms, and the people who don't have symptoms are not saying anything. And those loud people are scaring away everyone else from going on to these amazing peptides.
So have you had any muscle loss during your journey?
Nope, I've had muscle gain. I've gained muscle. I've gained strength.
What do you attribute that to?
I've been an athlete my whole life. I've always worked out. I continued working out. And I also knew just it's the healthiest thing to do. Muscle is the organ of longevity. And I wanted to maximize my GLP-1 usage in terms of maximizing my health outcome. So it's not just about losing weight. It's about really losing body fat. And as I was losing body fat, the muscle starts to uncover. And it's one of the most amazing things. I like being strong. And so no, I actually gained muscle. I've done a couple of DEXA scans that also have proven it in the DEXA scan, but also my strength has gone up and I'm lifting heavier, and it's been an amazing experience. That's why I share my experience, because I want everyone to maximize their experience and to know that it's possible to get whatever body it is you want. Whatever the result is, it is absolutely possible. Whereas before, it was a struggle. So may have been a little impossible before with the help of a GLP-1 and pairing that with all the right things. I think, sky's the limit. Only your mindset will limit you to whatever it is you want.
So when you first started your journey, how did you approach your physician about getting onto the GLP-1 medications? Or did they suggest it to you?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. They suggested it to me. So when I started and I said, all right, now I'm ready to lose weight again and do this for the final time and just get healthy. It was in the spring of 2022. And it was then that my healthcare practitioner said, why don't you try Ozempic? Because I've been with the same practice for 2 decades. And she knows everything that I've done. Maximizing, she knows me, knows everything that I've done, and knows how I struggled. And at spring of 2022, or even in the whole year, it really wasn't known at all. It was not really on social media. I had read literally one article about it. So I knew of its existence, but I still was hesitant to try a medication. I wanted to try it on my own. I said, no, let me do it on my own. So between March and September, I, cleaned up my diet a little bit more, tightened things up. I started running because I thought running was the way to losing weight, as I think a lot of us do. I thought that was the only way. So I started running, and I was still lifting weights and, clean up my diet. And in about 6 months, I had lost 5 or 6 pounds. I'm like, that's it? I mean, that was really frustrating. And so by September, I said, all right, I'm ready to try this. I've done everything that I could possibly do. Let's give this a try. And I think it was like the 3rd week of September. And in that first week, within hours of taking it, I felt different. I felt that switch, that light switch. All of a sudden, I wasn't hungry. Like, I was hungry, and then I actually got full for the first time. And I lost 3 pounds that week. And I'm like, I struggled to lose 5 or 6 pounds. It took me 6 months. And in this 1 week alone, I lost 3. I was so excited and flabbergasted. I'm like, what is going on? So yeah, that was the start of my journey.
You're lucky that you had a physician that actually knew about these, because I know a lot of the physicians, like, we're kind of educating them as we ask for it.
Yes. Yes. Well, this is a physician that I've been going to. So side note, I've been on bioidentical hormone replacement therapy for over 20 years. And I know that's another big hot topic out there. A lot of people are jumping on. I'm like an OG when it comes to that. So yeah, I've been on that since my early 30s after I had kids. And this is the same physician who's been in that space, who knows longevity and hormones and women and all of that jazz. So yeah, they know all about peptides and lots of other things. And yeah, I'm very fortunate. I'm very fortunate because yeah, not many people know about what a GLP-1 is, how to use it, what to do. And that's why we're all coming to, social media to try to figure out, like, how do we do this thing?
Do you take other peptides or supplements along with the medication?
So I have a low thyroid. So I am on thyroid medication, have been on that since 2016 or 2017. The GLP-1, the bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, which is estradiol, progesterone, and testosterone. Trying to think. I just started taking vitamin D and K, D3 and K2. Even though I try to get as much sun as I can, my D levels are still a little low. So I just started, it was suggested I take that. And I literally just started taking creatine. So I'm going to make a video on that about the results to see what happens. But I'm only about 2.5 weeks into taking it. So I want to give it a good 30, 60, 90 days. And then I'll report back on the result because I think a lot of women are afraid to take it. I know I was. But it's supposed to have not just for the muscle. I'm actually looking at it more for the brain cognitive health. Yeah, that's it. I don't take anything else.
I too just started taking the creatine about 3 weeks ago, so it'll
Okay,
be
same
interesting to see your video and kind of compare it.
I was afraid of I know there's a myth, and I knew it was a myth, but I still didn't want to do it. The myth of gaining water weight and bloating. And I did a lot of research, and my husband's been taking creatine for a while, but I still was like, I don't want to gain water weight. And then I finally said, all right, let me do this. I haven't gained any water weight. How's your experience been?
I'm still the same weight, and I'm on maintenance, so that is what I want. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And we know it's intercellular water. We know it's the water. It gets pulled into your muscle. It's not subcutaneous, water that you would bloat on or whatever if you have a lot of salt or you're on your period or something. But I just didn't want it to mess with my head or scale weight. But no, I've stayed the same, and I think it has helped my cognitive a little bit, but it's early days. So.
It's early, yeah. So what does a day in food look like for you?
Typical food for me is all whole foods predominantly. I would say 95% is whole foods. So in the morning, and I did a what I eat in a day video, which is pretty accurate. So in the morning, I will have protein to start off with 99% of the time, and that'll be leftover dinner. Salmon, chicken, steak, turkey, whatever. I'll start off with protein. My lunch usually consists of an omelet with tons of vegetables. So I'll have a couple of eggs, lots of vegetables, cottage cheese, full fat cottage cheese. I don't like the low fat, which is tons of protein. And then usually have a snack. My snack is usually more protein in the afternoon. So could be chicken or salmon or whatever, or it could be a protein bar. That's the only processed food that I generally have because protein bars are processed. They're in a package with a barcode. But I'm very careful on the protein bars that I choose as well because I want natural ingredients, no sugar, high protein, high fiber, something that will actually satiate me. And then dinners are going to be either like a big salad because I'm more of a volume eater. So a big salad with protein, and then I'll have my starchy carb, rice, potato, whatever on the side, or I'll cook up vegetables and do the same thing. So I'll alternate between the two of those things. And then if I'm usually not hungry for dessert anymore, I used to be, I was like a dessertaholic, chocoholic, and sugar addict. But I know I'm not anymore. But if I'm still hungry, maybe I'll have a protein bar for dessert. And I usually have green tea now in the evenings. It's kind of my wind down. But generally, I'm not that hungry after dinner, and I'm good with my green tea, and that's it.
Now
That's
you
generally
mentioned
it.
protein bars. Do you do protein shakes also, or just the bars?
I do not. I did try a protein shake during my weight loss journey portion, as it was suggested to me. I tried pea protein and whey protein, and they tasted really good, but for me, they spiked my hunger. And I found I did it for about a month, and I'm like, I'm getting hungrier, and it's not helping me lose weight. So I decided to cut them out because my appetite was increasing, and then my appetite went back to normal. So I'm not a protein shake person. I'd rather have the actual food.
Now, is this the way you ate before you were on maintenance also, or did you change your eating when you went on to maintenance?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's the same, but I eat more. So it's the
Okay.
same foods, but now I'll eat more starchy carbs. Or I'll give you an example. During my weight loss journey, I never had pizza ever. I do now, not often. If my husband gets pizza, he'll always have leftovers, and those leftovers are mine. So they'll end up being my snack the next day, or maybe I'll add it to my breakfast or something like that, as a treat. But literally, it might be 2 or 3 times a month, and it's not that much, but it's enough. But I would never do that during my weight loss because I really wanted to like maximize the weight loss during that time. I also kept my starchy carbs much lower during weight loss.
Hmm.
And I also did intermittent fasting or time restricted eating, which I also think helped because I'm insulin resistant, as most of us probably are.
Hmm.
I do think that helps. And my doctor also suggested doing that, and the intermittent fasting and the lower starchy carbs. But once I got onto maintenance, she was actually like, go have pizza, go eat more. And I was scared. I'm like, no, I don't want to eat the pizza. I'm like scared of it. But then I started slowly integrating, some additional foods in, or once a week, once or twice a week, we'll go out to eat, get taken, and I'll have more food. But I eat more calories now during
Now
maintenance.
you mentioned intermittent fasting. Like I tried that, and I was a little afraid that I had a hard enough time getting the nutrition that I needed because of the appetite suppression, and was worried that restricting the time might not be the smartest thing for that. Did you have any problem with that, or were you able to work all of that into just that time?
I've not had a problem eating.
So the appetite
Uh,
suppression isn't a big thing with you, or?
no, it was. So when I started, that whole food noise and whatnot that people talk about, I thought I was the only one who had that. And then, of
Mm,
course, you hear it
we
now,
all
like,
did.
everyone else has this too. I have had the largest appetite my entire adult life. I've just had the appetite that just never shuts off. I had to mentally be like, all right, I'm good. I shouldn't eat anymore. I could out eat almost anybody. I'm the person who would go to a restaurant and be like, ooh, is that going to be enough for me when they put my plate down? I'm like, all right, I guess that's it. And then, maybe I'd even go home and have more to eat or whatever. But my appetite was always so large, and it just never shut off. And, I'd look at my husband who's tall and lean. I'm like, do you get full? And he's like, of course I do. And I'm like, well, that's never happened to me before these medications. Now I do. Now it's like a light switch where I'll eat, and and I'm good, and then I'm done. And I mentally, physically feel satisfied. That's never happened before.
Let's talk about maintenance for a moment, because for me, like that was one of the hardest parts of this journey because there really aren't any set guidelines. And it's like, do you lower your dose? Do you just continue your dose? You know, I really couldn't eat more. I didn't feel like, just shoving the food in because I didn't want to lose weight. And I was losing a little bit of weight. So do you stretch it out? I mean, there's just so many variations. How did you handle maintenance?
So I never had a problem losing more weight. I always wanted to lose more, but I think at this point I'm probably as lean as I can possibly get in terms of body fat percentage. So what helped me to know like I hit my goal weight was also going for a DEXA scan, because you pick that goal weight and you're like, I can go a little more, maybe another 5 pounds. So I kept moving the goalpost a little bit more to see, based on my height, I'm still within the healthy parameter. However, scale weight's one measurement, but your body composition is a whole nother thing. Your muscle weighs a lot, and the more muscle you have, obviously scale weight goes up. So when I hit maintenance, and I agree with you, Lori, it's scary because we're all good at losing. We've done it before. It's the maintaining part that we're not very good at doing. Like nobody is. It's very, very few people that are successful maintainers. And it's scary. So when I initially hit my goal weight and was going to go on to maintenance, my thought was I wanted to get off the medication. That was my initial thought anyway. So what I did was I went carnivore. I thought, well, maybe I'll try this and this will be good. I did it for 6 months. I stayed on the medication though, because I didn't want to come off of it. It was still helping to regulate my appetite and satiety signaling. So I did carnivore and I'm still on the GLP, and I was strict carnivore. I mean, for those of you who don't know what that is, it is just meat and fat. I zero carb whatsoever. But I did start to have negative health outcomes. And I have a video on that too, if anyone wants to take a look. But I had negative health outcomes. My cholesterol went crazy high, and triglycerides, and folate got really low, and my hair started breaking. And it was not, I finally had to realize this isn't good for me. I also it gave me really bad reflux every single day. So finally, about 6 months in, I said, all right, maybe this isn't for me. I went back and I was maintaining my weight, although I did start to get inflammation on it, which was kind of weird. The weight kind of maintained, but how I knew I was getting inflammation was my rings that were really, really loose on me. They were really tight. I could barely get them off my fingers. And that kind of worried me as well. Within about 24, 48 hours of incorporating carbohydrates back in, reflux went away. I felt better. 3 months later, I went back for blood tests, all normal again. So yeah, the maintenance part, it's scary because you don't know what to do. And there's really no one out there it's very individualized, essentially. There's some studies, right, from Eli Lilly with the maintenance doses of 5, 10, and 15. But so I was up to 15 milligrams on Zepbound, and I actually started feeling a little hungrier. So I dropped it to 12.5 to see what that was like. And that seemed like my comfort zone. So I've stayed at 12.5 milligrams this entire time for over 2 years now on maintenance weekly. Just incorporated more food in. And it's a mindset shift. I mean, you just mentally have to get used to maintenance. I used to have dreams at night that I was back to the way I was. I'd have dreams that I was eating like a big sundae or something that I wouldn't normally have. And I wake up thinking, oh my God, did I eat all of that? And I'm like, oh, it was just a dream. But I literally would have dreams about it. And still, like, even looking in the mirror, looking at pictures, even now, I'm like, is that me? When you walk around for decades in a different body,
absolutely,
it's hard to get used to, like, this is the new me and I can stay here, but I'm very intentional without being obsessive, or I'm not restrictive. These are the boundaries that I have, the guardrails, and I do enjoy the foods that I eat, and I enjoy where I'm at right now from a life perspective.
Any of the foods taste different before the medications as after? Like I know there's a couple of things for me that just don't taste right that I used to really like.
During the weight loss portion, coffee started to taste bad. And I love coffee. I love the whole thing about it. I love the experience. I love having it in the morning. I've been drinking it since I was 15. And I'm like, oh no, this can't get taken away from me. So, but eventually my taste buds came back. I think it was like 2 weeks of it tasting really bad, but it did come back. Outside of that, I can't think of anything else. I did have to work on breaking the habit of having like a nightly dessert, but the GLP-1 helps me because I mentioned I've been a chocoholic since I was a kid. I mean, when I was little, I would, have M&Ms and like I grew up in a healthy household for the most part. My mom was all about healthy foods and cooking and all of that. But, we had our baked goods and cookies and brownies and, whatever. And I had that sweet tooth, and every night I would have a dessert, and it was a habit. And it was also, I don't know if you call it an addiction or not, maybe. And I had to work at breaking that, which I did. And now I'm not even drawn to it anymore, which is crazy for me.
For me, I'm still a dessert person, but what I want for dessert has changed now. Fresh fruit, that's like a perfect dessert for me. So,
oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still wouldn't
count
that as dessert.
Well, it's sweet. It's it's good. So it kind of takes care of that
good.
little sweet tooth.
If I really want something sweet, the protein bar does the trick for me.
So what does your day of exercise look like?
Every morning I will do 10 minutes of core, and then I'll walk either outside or on my treadmill. I'll throw a weighted vest on now, and I'll typically get in about 10,000 steps in the morning. And then later on in the day, I'll get my strength workout in because I do work full time. Work for corporate America, and I work globally. So I'm usually online really early in the morning. So I'm talking to folks in Europe. And I also have a tread pad below my standing desk. So if I'm in meetings, which I'm in frequently, I'll walk on my tread pad, and those are some unconscious calories, neat calories, and steps that I'll get in. That could be 2,000 to 5,000 steps that I wouldn't normally get in. So I'll do that in meetings. And then strength workout 5 days a week on average to do strength. And I work out exclusively from home. Dumbbells, pull-up bar, that's it. Nothing else. At least at this time, that's all I've been doing.
I'm still trying to master that pull-up. I still need the assist. And I've got it down to like 25 pounds of assist, and I could do a couple, but it's like I broke my shoulder about 6 years ago, and I'm always a little worried with that. So it's like,
I've torn my
nice
shoulder.
And slow.
I've had in this shoulder, in my right one, I've had 2 surgeries for rotator labrum and bicep tendon tears. So I get it. It's repaired.
I'm a little obsessed with the pull-up bar right now because I really want to do it. Yeah.
That's good. Being obsessed over working out or getting something, that's a good thing. It means you're gonna get it. My biggest advice for pull-up: get a pull-up bar for your house. Do them every day. Spend 5 minutes every day just trying to get 1 or 2 in, working on ancillary muscles that will help to support you to get there. I don't know if you saw. I did a video on that as well. How to get your first pull-up in 30 days with a downloadable PDF with other exercises to help support. When I started doing my pull-ups, I could only do like 1 barely. And within a couple of weeks, I was doing 2. And then once you start getting them, you just start adding. But I also was very driven, and I was doing them every day. I'm like, I'm going to get this. And now I do sets, and I do 80, 100, 120 in sets of 6, 10, the different, grips and whatnot. I'll put weights on now to add a little more resistance.
Wow. So tell us a little something about your channel.
So I started my channel a little over a year ago, and I initially started it, I think it was in May of 2024. So I started it when I was already in maintenance. And I think the reason why I was actually like, I didn't want to start it until I knew that I could lose the weight. and maintain it. And that was kind of the premise as to why I wanted to start it at that point. GLPs were not out there. Still not out there. I was still nervous to put the GLP out there. Didn't know what kind of reaction I would get, because there's a lot of negativity now. There's much more negativity back a year and a half ago. So for the first 2 months, I did not say anything about the GLP. I focused on everything else, which is true, and you do have to do all those things. But then after 2 months, I decided I want to let everyone know I've been on GLP-1 because it has helped me, and I want to share that knowledge with people. So that's when I started talking about that shared experience. And the whole premise is I want people, especially men and women, especially if you're over 40, to know that it's not all doom and gloom as you get older. You can lose body fat. You can get healthier. You can get whatever result you want. If you want to just get healthy, have a healthy body, you can do that. You want to get ripped, you want to get really lean, you can do that as well. There's no stopping you as long as you have discipline and you're driven and you focus on whatever result you want to get. You can absolutely get there. And I want to be there to support people out there and to have a supportive community. I think that's really important so that you're not alone.
So, like you said, people look at it negatively. What do you think it's going to take to get rid of that? I mean, I know that's one reason why I started my channel and these interviews. But it's like I work in an imaging center. I do CT scans, and we have 8 different locations locally, and I must have 25, 30 techs. And, when I mentioned that I have a channel, I find out that 10 of them are secretly on GLP-1 medications and don't want to put out there because they're afraid of what people are going to think,
I mean, I didn't put it out there to anyone. The only people that I told were my husband, and I told a few close friends. But my husband's been very supportive, and a couple of my friends were not. So that made me hesitate on talking to anybody. If my own friends were negative, then I didn't tell my kids. The whole world knew once I put it out onto YouTube. That was it. And that, I didn't even formally tell my children. They found out through following me on social media. But I mean, I get it. It's not something, this is a private thing that is between you and your healthcare practitioner. And I think people have a right to keep it quiet. And if you don't want to tell anyone, don't tell anyone. But if you're not going to be supportive, I don't know. It's the whole going back to, if you have nothing nice to say, then keep your mouth shut. Don't say anything. But people still have to have their opinions on things. So
yeah, I get that, and your healthcare is your own business, but it's just some of the people and their negativity. I just don't understand that. It's like, I go to the gym 3-4 times a week, and I know some of these people are using steroids. I don't judge them. That's, their business. It's like, I don't get why the GLP-1 has such a negative when other stuff doesn't.
That community is turning around, though. I think the fitness or the gym or the bodybuilding community was against it. I think they're kind of doing a 180 right now, because I think a lot of them are using it now and going, oh, wow, I can actually get leaner and get ripped. And I mean, there's a lot of amazing folks out there. Dr. Mike Israel out there. He's huge. He's on it. His wife's on it, and they're big proponents of it. And there's a lot more that are out there. So I think that community may be turning around and saying, oh, actually, this could be a really good thing. And all the other, if there's any other negativity out there, I mean, I just don't want to entertain it. You're not going to convince somebody who's already convinced it's a bad thing. So that's not my job. My job is to go, if you're considering it or you're thinking about it, here's information. Then it's up to you to decide if it's something that you think would benefit you.
Now, my gym recently has made some changes, and I mean, they still have a really big, cardio area, but they've made it just a little bit smaller, and they've gotten rid of some of the cardio type of machines and are going more towards strength training. Do you think any of that has to do with the GLP-1 and how people are working out now?
I have no idea. I don't know. I'm not sure if that's why the gym is doing that, but I don't know that it's that big of a movement yet. I mean, percentage wise, I still don't think there's that many people that are on a GLP-1. It's a huge market of people out there that could get on it. And I think it's really important to send that message to people. It's part of what I do on my channel, is to say,
right,
wherever you are in your journey, and you don't have to start today if you've never done strength training. Doesn't mean you have to start today, but it's something that you do need to start at some point and start thinking about it, because at some point it should be part of your journey. 100%. There's no excuse for not doing it, because I've seen too many people who have negative health outcomes when they don't do it. I have family members who not on a GLP-1 at all, never had a weight problem, but are being diagnosed with osteopenia because they don't lift weights. That's scary.
That just happens naturally with age if you don't do anything about it. And some of it
doesn't
is
have to happen. It's preventable.
It doesn't. No, it is.
That's a choice. At that point, I know two people. One is my age, and she's got osteopenia, and someone else who's a few years older who has it. And I said to both of them, you can reverse that. Start lifting weights. That is the number one way to reverse increased bone density and have all these other wonderful. But that's a choice. You can choose to do it or choose not to do it.
Have you followed any of the new medications that are in the works at all?
I have. Yeah. So I'm actually coming out soon with a video, because there's the, I have to see it, but the one with the O with the pill. And then there's actually an implant.
Are we not allowed to say it?
Oh, I don't know I don't remember what it is.
Or Forglipron.
Or Forglipron.
It's a tongue twister.
Yes. So that one's coming out. I think that could be a great option for people. I'm not a pill person, so I prefer to stick to an injection. Plus, the injections still have a higher percentage of statistically body weight loss or fat loss. But it'll be more accessible, it'll be more affordable, and you can still get a great result. Doesn't need refrigeration, so it could potentially be a really amazing option. And then there's other things being studied, which I talk about in more detail, but getting an implant for 6 months or a year. I mean, that's crazy to have an implant you don't have to think about, and it just, semaglutide or tirzepatide. So that's pretty interesting as well. And then there's a lot of other things, retatrutide, right? That one.
Yeah, and I've heard within like 4 or 5 years they're possibly working on one that doesn't cause muscle loss or helps prevent muscle loss. I shouldn't say that, because any weight loss can cause muscle loss.
Right. It's not the GLP-1 that causes it.
Right.
But I still think even if you're on the retatrutide, which is the triple agonist, you still got to lift weights. You still got to do it. You can't just take that and think like your muscle's going to stay. If you lose weight, you're going to, by doing nothing and you lose weight, you have to expect muscle loss. It'll happen.
I personally think with the retatrutide that, it's going to be more for people that have over 100 to 150 pounds to lose, rather than the person that has 50 or 60. And that's just my opinion.
Why is that?
Because it's got the 3 agonists, the GIP, the GLP, and the glucagon. I think obviously it's going to be a little bit more pricey, and the standards even for the Zepbound, I forgot exactly what the BMI is supposed to be. If you're going to get it with insurance, if you're lucky enough to be able to get it with insurance. So I just think that they're going to have a higher BMI and a higher amount. Of course,
so you're going to more hoops to get that, essentially.
Probably that's just my opinion. I hope hopefully I'm wrong, but
I mean, I people who have, like, when you say only like 40 or like, I lost 50 pounds. That was 30% of my body weight. It's significant. And depending on your height and depending on how that's affecting your health, because
Mm-hmm.
I had insulin resistance. I was just on the cusp of pre-diabetes. That scared the hell out of me because I
Mm-hmm.
thought I was eating healthy. I thought I was doing all the things, but obviously I was eating too much. I was drinking alcohol, not a lot, but I don't drink anymore either. That's
Mm-hmm.
another change that I've made. Oh, that was the other thing. GLPs actually made alcohol taste pretty bad. So it's not like look, the studies come out and they go, oh, having a glass or two is really good for your health. And 10 years ago I'd send that around to my girlfriends and go, oh, look, it's good for us to drink. We should drink more. And now it's like, you know what? There is no good amount to drink. It's a toxin. You shouldn't drink anything. So it helped me to not drink anymore. I was just a social drinker to begin with, but have not had alcohol or added sugar since 2022.
Oh, that's great. For me, I'm looking forward to the orforglipron because being in maintenance, I don't care if the numbers are a little bit lower. Uh, I don't mind the injection, but I'm just hoping that it'll be a little bit more steady because, like, when I do my injection, that like 6th day, I do notice that I am a little bit more hungry, and
Yep,
I'm
I'm the
hoping,
same way.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Now, are you a stomach injector? Do you
Mm-hmm.
rotate your spots?
I tried in the beginning. I did. I did. I tried my thighs. I tried the back of my arm, stomach. When I did my thighs and arms, I felt like nothing. I felt like water. Like I just did not feel
Yeah, me too.
anything. And I did try it a few times, and then I went. Ended up just going back to the stomach. So yeah, I've been injecting in my stomach now for I'm on the cusp of 3 years, which is kind of insane.
Did you notice a difference between name brand and the compounded?
No,
Yeah, neither did I. Some people say, "Oh, yeah, big difference," but I didn't notice any.
no, I
Uh,
felt the same to me. I would go either way. I mean, right now I'm on Zepbound 12.5, but I am one of those people that's affected by the Caremark CVS
mm-hmm.
PBM, forcing me to go to Wegovy, and did try to put it in and appeal it, and they denied me. So I have, I may try going back to Wegovy because I am in maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
I still have some leftovers at Bounds, but I can get Wegovy for nothing because it's a $25 copay. And if you go to the
Right.
website, download the coupon, it brings it down to $0. So
That's
it's
great.
worth trying at least.
Mm-hmm.
Alternatively, if it's not working out, because I like not having food noise, I like having my appetite and satiety regulate. I want to keep that going. I don't really ever see myself going off of it. So if that doesn't work, then I may, my doctor's not big on appeals. That's the only kind of negative thing. I could either go compounding or go to Lilly Direct and just get it and pay for it, which I would do because to me it's worth it
Absolutely.
at the end of the day. It's enhanced my life in so many different ways. So I want to keep
What
that.
do you, what do you think of the compounding situation that's going on now?
Not a fan of what they're doing. I think I mean, look, I've been on compounding for over 20
Mm-hmm.
years. What's the difference? Yes, it's
Mm-hmm.
bioidentical. And because it's bioidentical and it cannot be patented, that is why the pharmaceutical companies don't go after, the progesterone, the estradiol, testosterone. It's a whole nother story. It's the only way to get testosterone because they can't prescribe it. So it's done by compounding, and I think the pharmacies, if they're done well and your doctor,
Mm-hmm.
knows the pharmacy, and I trust my doctor, I've only had positive experiences. So I think it's a great way for people they're going to access it one way or the other,
Right.
whether it's there or it's the gray market,
Right.
they're going to do
As
it.
long as you do your homework and check out the pharmacies that they use, I personally recommend people sticking to the big companies if you're going to go telehealth and find out where they're getting it from and check out those.
If they'll tell you. Do they even
Most of
tell
them
you
will.
though?
Yeah, I've been through a couple of them, and they've told me, like, um, I, I've used Mochi, and they tell you which ones they're using. which ones they've sent it to, and they've actually like let me know if that one's too busy, that they were going to send it to a
Right, but where
different
are they
one.
getting it from?
They're getting it from mainly Empower,
But where are they
and
getting the peptide from?
Empower Pharmacy.
Where's Empower getting it
Oh,
from?
well, I just checked the ratings on Empower, and I checked,
Right. See,
the
they don't
reviews
tell
and so
you
forth.
that they're actually getting it, from China,
Right. And
right?
like, I personally don't have a problem with that. If there's
Oh no, I
not
don't have a
any
problem with that
complaints or
either.
lawsuits, or, I mean, those are the things that I look for in the compounding companies. And I always tell people if something sounds too good to be true, because somebody was telling me that a Facebook ad, popped up and it was $49. I'm like, don't do it,
No, absolutely not.
It's,
No,
you
that's
know, and,
I've seen some bad things happen, but
mhm,
go to Reddit and there's a lot of
mhm,
amazing experiences with
absolutely.
people getting it on the gray market as well.
Yeah.
Um,
It's one of
I've
the
done it.
people that I work with.
I was
One of
gonna
the
say
people
I've
that
done
I
it.
work with is getting retatrutide through the gray market, and I'm like, she's like, "Are you interested?" I'm like, I don't want to bother. I would never recommend it. She goes, "Oh, but I'm a paramedic, so I know what I'm doing." I'm like, "Well, good luck. Let me know how it goes, but not for me."
I did it. Not retatrutide with tirzepatide
Hmm.
because initially when I went on to compounding, and it was through my healthcare practitioner, wasn't going to like a Mochi or Joint Fridays or whatever, one
Right.
of those big places where they can get it discounted because they're
Hmm.
in mass. So when you have your doctor generally write it to the compounding pharmacy, you're paying a lot. And back in 2023 when I got it was a lot of money. And so I did my own research, and I did go to the gray market, and it was super effective, and I did a lot of research and whatnot, and it was literally like a tenth of the cost.
That's great.
And I
Me
told my health
personally,
practitioner. I knew she
again, me
wasn't informed,
personally.
but I told her.
Yeah, me personally, I have a hard enough time, because they, do use different pharmacies, which I've checked out, and my dose from one, even if it's from the same pharmacy, 1 month, my unit amount might be different than the unit amount uh, the next month, just because
Ah,
of how it's made, and but I have a hard enough time, and I put the labels on there, don't take them off, so that I know 75 units on this one, where this bottle might be 99 units. So I have to keep that straight, let alone mixing it up with the sterile water and stuff like that. And I know a lot of people have a hard time, just you see posts all the time, oh, I'm taking 75 units, but that doesn't tell me anything, that just is how many units. It doesn't tell you the strength, or so forth.
right.
So
Yeah, I mean,
I
even
think
if
I
you
think
look at the like the Zep bound pens, and you
right.
go from 5 to 7.5, et cetera, it's the same volume of liquid, but the concentration
There's
is
a
more.
concentration, right.
So for people, if you're not going to be extremely diligent, do all the research, know exactly how much you're putting in you, don't do it because you could
Yeah.
be putting yourself at risk. Then you're better off just, getting the regular pens and doing it that way. But I
Or through
think Lily
Lily
Direct,
Direct, or
right, Lily Direct is a good option. I'm hoping those prices will come down because I may end up going that route if I need to.
it looks like they might, I mean, just from their shareholders meetings and so forth, and the fact that charging these ridiculous prices isn't doing it for their shareholders, so they may have to lower it and just try to expand the amount of people.
Let's hope.
Let's hope. So back to your channel. If somebody goes to your channel, is there a particular video or a playlist that you recommend that they start with?
I would probably, either start with my first video of GLP-1s or any of those, either the very, very first video that I talk about or the first GLP-1, because that showcases my journey,
Hmm.
why I started them, what I was going through, how I lost it, how long it took, and then the result. And then at that point, I've been maintaining as well. Yeah, I mean, and then more recently, I've been putting out some more videos about mindset it all incorporates everything.
Right.
But I did put out a little video. It's kind of a vulnerable video about, people's past trauma and how that affects your decisions and weight loss or weight gain and food. And, there's just a lot going on there that if you don't address it, and I have it, a lot of past trauma, if you don't address it, I mean, it will hinder your journey. It's just it's going to be there. So you might as well try to face it head on. And that's something that I've been trying to do. So I put it out there. Wasn't sure how well it would be received or not. Was a little bit nervous because I was, kind of vulnerable, but yeah, it's been very well received. So, and I put out the what I eat in a day video, which I thought, I don't know, people are going to like this either. Is it too healthy? Because I'm not a fan of fast food. Never have been. I'm not a fan of people promoting fast food or eating it. I think that gets people into trouble with their weight, and it's not real food. If it's an every once in a while thing, no problem. But as a frequent thing, not a fan. Processed foods, not a fan. Like, they're just not real food. So,
is there a video that you're most proud of? Not necessarily the highest rated one, but one that you're most proud of?
I think a few of the more recent ones I put out maybe 2 a week because it is pretty time consuming, and I do work full time as well. So it's trying to find the time to do all of that. But probably in the last few weeks, there's been a few that I've put out there where I've really talked about mindset, mind state, working out, discipline. Discipline's going to trump motivation, how to get there and stay there, because it's not just about the weight loss. That's almost the easier part and more fun part of the whole journey, because you get to go on the scale and kind of see it go down. The maintenance part, as you know, Lori, it's like, well, where's the fun now? Now the scale kind of goes up and down all the time. There's always a fluctuation. So you have to get used to that. And where else now? What are my goals? Where do I put my mind now? It's not on weight loss, it's on maintaining. But where do I want to take that? And that's when I decided, I'm like, well, I just want to be in the best shape that I can possibly be in. And I want to stay mobile and independent. I don't want anyone to have to take care of me when I get older. I think people resign themselves thinking that's going to be an outcome as they get older. Not for me. If I can help it. I want to keep my brain as active and clear as possible. And I want to keep my body the same way. And I want to be able to be, still doing cartwheels and handstand when I'm 80.
Along the same lines, do you have any tips or tricks on staying motivated, whether you're down or on a plateau or just, having a hard time?
Take pictures from the beginning, because I forced myself. I didn't want to. Who wants to take pictures when you're not feeling so great about yourself? But I knew that this was the start of my journey and it was only going to get better. So take pictures, take measurements, use other ways of measuring your progress other than just the scale. I do weigh myself daily. I advise that as well. And trust me, I had scale issues. I did not weigh myself for decades. So I get the whole, I don't want to weigh myself, but I think that was my way of putting my head in the sand. I don't want to know, and I think that I learned to disengage my emotions, not always successful at it, but for the most part, I don't let it rule my emotions or my day. And I said, I need to learn how to weigh myself every day without making myself crazy and using it as a tool. But I would say do all the things and then look back, because I see people all the time that they get upset or they're not losing as fast or whatever the case is. And when you look back at the pictures or you take the measurements, you have the aha moment of, all right, I am doing well. And don't forget the progress that you're making, and just don't quit. You'll fail if you quit. That is the only time when you're going to, not succeed, is if you just give up. Just don't give up. Keep going. have a supportive community that will help to encourage you, so you know you're not alone, because you're not on an island by yourself. Get a coach if you feel that you need it. Everyone has coaches. I grew up a competitive gymnast. We didn't do that on our own. We had coaches. You know, in the executive area, the top executives, they all have coaches to help them succeed. There's nothing wrong with that. I think it could be an asset to get a coach, be in a community. I'm always on YouTube looking at other people. That helps to keep me going as well.
Right.
And that would be my advice.
Do you track your food?
I do. I didn't start tracking my food. I started tracking when I stalled. When I got into stall, because I used to track back in the day. I did the Weight Watchers and all the point system and writing things down. And I was like, I don't want to track. That's so tedious and whatnot. But when I think I was about maybe a month in, and I think I hit a stall. Oh, what's going on? I said, oh, maybe I should start tracking. So I downloaded, MyFitnessPal. That was the one I knew about. I started tracking. I went, oh, this is actually pretty easy. This isn't so hard. And it became almost addictive to track. And now it's just a habit. And it really helped me to hit my protein, to know what I was eating, to have data points to look back on. Again, those are my guardrails that keeps me where I'm supposed to be. And it's a lot easier than people think. I mean, unless you're like a gourmet cook and you're making like 20 ingredients like every single night and having to figure out what you're putting in your tracker, which you shouldn't be doing, because then you're probably over your calories. That might be a little difficult to track, but most of us eat the same foods over and over and over again. I mean, I know I do. So it's basically, you're just swiping the same food, and it's very easy. So I'm a tracker, yes. What about you?
I only track when there's a problem, like when I was on a stall, and I do occasionally, only to make sure what I think I'm eating, calorie wise and size wise, is actually what I am eating. So, like all of a sudden one day a month I'll say, oh, I'm going to track for 2 days, just to to make sure what, if I think I'm eating 1,200 calories, just to make sure that I'm somewhat accurate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I track, weigh, measure, the whole 9 yards. I mean, I'll eyeball things at a restaurant or if I'm out.
Right. Now, a quick question about whole foods. I would love to be able to eat more of them, but my workday is about 13 to 14 hours, and I really don't have a lot of time when I get home to start cooking. So like I use things like, I don't know if you have them there, but factor meals, where supposedly they're using, better ingredients. Do you have any opinions on that, or how I could really get more whole foods? Because I don't have a lot of time to meal prep.
That's a long day. I work from home, so I think it's a little bit easier for me. I would recommend you got to plan. I mean, plan meaning, whatever your foods, go shop for your foods and go cook them up. However many days. So if you can cook twice a week or 3 times a week or whatever, and then you cook extra, which is what I do. I'll cook extra food. So those leftovers become my breakfast or my lunch or my dinner the next night. So you don't have to think, because if you're working long hours, the last thing you want to do is start cooking again, or start having to think like, now what am I going to have? So if you plan ahead, you don't have to think. It's there. I just went shopping today, and I know exactly what I'm having for the week. I got my salmon, I got chicken, and I got packaged chicken that comes in sauces, and all my vegetables and everything. And I grill a lot, so I'll put things on the grill. There's a plane outside. I don't know if you hear that. And it's for me, it's pretty quick, to cook things up. But I'm a big planner. If you don't plan, you're going to just grab something on it that you're going to regret probably later. I know I would. And I've done it. That's why I'm big on planning ahead of time. So if you can do that, then you don't have to rely on a factor meal, which is probably expensive, more expensive than if you bought things.
Probably.
And it may not be, I don't know, for me, again, I'm a volume eater, so that probably wouldn't even be enough for me to have. I'd probably want more. So I'd want more vegetables or add more of whatever in there. So that's what I would recommend doing. Save money.
Do you have any, absolutely. Do you have any closing statements or anything you want to say before I let you go? I don't want to keep you all day.
Absolutely. I subscribe to your channel. You have a great channel going, and let's boost this community up a little bit more. Strain train, get your steps in, be active. We're meant to be active. Follow people that resonate with you. You know, bring those people into your circle, and the people that don't, or the negative or whatever, push them away. And, you know, I think that people need to also follow people that are a step or two ahead of them. And mediocre and complacency, don't do that. It's going to just keep you stuck where you are. Keep growing, keep learning, keep an open mind, and you'll succeed and get healthy. And if you're brave enough, share your journey on Lori's channel as well.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. That's why I do these interviews, so that people could learn, and everybody's journey is different. But like I said, you could get some things out of everybody's journey. So
absolutely.
Thank you for
thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you.